So, any final questions or thoughts? We may give you back 10 minutes of your life.
Clive, on that note, I encourage us to reach out to LSIC, like Rachel Klima, she's on,
Yep,
and have this as a topical discussion at the fall workshop.
that's a good
Timing will
one.
be very good for that.
That's a good one.
Keep the momentum going and keep growing this whole thing until it becomes reality.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Also, I might add that some of the comments from this workshop will be incorporated into a presentation that Clive and also James Carpenter from ESA will be giving at the IAC in Paris, so that this starts becoming a truly international coordinated campaign. And like you said, Clive, it's good to spread the word beyond what we're doing.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And that's what we seeing the okay, the moon's smaller than Earth, but it's still quite a lot of real estate to look at that we know of. And Jerry, when you go to your next terrestrial mining conference, mate, you better start waving this campaign flag. So it's
Oh, I do. I wave this flag anywhere I can.
good man. Good man.
This is Dean. I'm wondering if we can reach out to the mining industry and get some of their folks involved who don't know anything about the moon other than it comes up and down once a month. Because they're the guys that have to worry about this stuff for real. I mean, their careers are literally on the line about these kinds of decisions and these kinds of data. Now, they may look at us and tell us we're all nuts, and that may be actually even a reasonable input anyway. But all of us here, or most of us here, for the most part, are I say academics. We're not in the extractive industry. We don't do this for a living, and it would be really nice to have some guys that really do it for a living to say some stuff to us.
Yeah, Dean. We have tried. We've gone to the the Canadian Institute of Mining conferences several years. Space Resources Roundtable has reached out for many years, trying to get folks. We've tried different pathways to we've gotten some inputs. I think, and Carl can talk about this some more too. I think as ISRU and as lunar exploration becomes more real, and especially when we start talking about space law, that I think is raising a level of awareness that us going to conferences and making presentations and talking to people hasn't been as successful. So I think when we do push these Artemis Accords and the space law aspects, when we start showing demonstrations, I'm not saying we don't stop doing what you said, Dean, but I think the level of interest is really starting to rise because of these other things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's good. I just, it's nice to have a cold breath of reality on us periodically.
Well, again,
USGS might be very helpful in, doing this as well. So, the fact that they have, a mandate to help with terrestrial resources, they are a known commodity. They have, and so, between them and defining the rules for, what are reserved and things for space, those again, I think are good aspects of bringing this forward.
Yeah, remember one of the findings from the 2019 Lunar ISRU workshop was terrestrial mining companies will engage in Lunar ISRU if they can see the profit potential and a net benefit to their terrestrial operations. We had mining folks there. There was a couple of them. There weren't many, but that was their comment is there's no market. There's no profit.
So ESA did something interesting, and I've kind of pitched it upwards, throwing it against the wall to see if it sticks. But again, this is, another community. ESA actually funded studies where space technology could enable terrestrial industries like mining. And so, we recognize space mining itself is going to take quite some time, and companies need something viable. And in all the conferences that I've gone to, the things that the space mining folks, are interested in is greenness. They are getting more and more restrictions on, particulates and diesel fuels and things. So the electrification, the automation aspects, wear and tear, if we could, so what could space operating in the harsh environments of space spin into the mining community such that there's some near-term products? And I think ESA funded some studies along those lines, where maybe academia and a terrestrial company get together and answer these, or industry, and so that's something that I've kind of thrown against the wall. But if somebody has better ideas along those lines, I'm all ears.
Again, if we're going to make our step out to the moon sustainable, we have to show a feedback to improvement of here on Earth. So I think I totally agree with you there, Jerry. So
Can I add a piece of good news?
yeah, I like good news.
Okay. Years ago, I put up some space investing forms to find some shareholders for my other company, Space Ventures Investors. And on the forms, it was directed at retail investors about what they wanted to invest in, satellites, Earth observation, aerospace companies. And I put in asteroid mining and space resources. And I think about 40% of participants wanted asteroid mining and space resources. And that's what led me down this path. Because I thought, well, that's a big task. So when I got into it, and I thought, well, the moon's the closest, and what is that all about? So I think from a retail investor point of view, they understand it, and they do want it. But the investing mechanism to fulfill that is what's missing. Mm-hmm. And the sad news is they've all been burnt out recently by certain crypto assets. Mm-hmm. So they're a bit tapped out, but I think residual in the mind of the retail investor is that space resources is something tangible. But if you talk to a mining company, it's a completely different conversation. So I just want to add that in, that from a retail investor point of view, they are there, they do understand the need for it, but we just need to work out the mechanism for them.
Okay. All right, we are 4 minutes over. And while I don't want to stop the discussion, we all have day jobs to get to, or night jobs, depending upon where you are. And I just want to thank everybody for the input. Now, remember, the steering committee's getting together. We are going to put some findings together that we will send out to those that participated in this workshop and submitted presentations to this workshop. So you will have a chance to look at these. I think it's been a good start, but as Carl said, we got to keep the momentum going, and we will take this input very seriously and start ramping up for the next LSSW on implementing a defined lunar resource evaluation, a coordinated, lunar resource evaluation campaign. So again, thanks to Ricky and everybody out at Survey that have helped pull this together. Thanks to the LSSW steering committee that have allowed us to run this workshop, and the one that's going to come up later in the year. Thanks to Carl and Angel for help with this, and also our note takers, Caitlin, Alex and Lauren, for sticking with it, and looking forward to getting your notes. And anyone that I've missed, I apologize. It's not intentional, but thank you so much for making this a rather interesting day, and it's a lot of good input. Thank you very much, and see you next time. To the moon.